There's one system, one hack, one trick that's going to help you write $40,000 per month. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking that down extensively and why it has consistently made the number one producers, the most consistent producers writing 40, 50, 60, and $100,000 a month. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab in the past 3.5 years. I've helped 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month. That's into their bank account. And on this channel, all I try to do is talk about the behaviors, mindset, and tendencies of those top people and what they're doing and why it works. As always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's hop right into the video. Okay, without further ado, let's get into this. The only lead system that creates $40,000 a month producers. Now, let me give a quick story, backstory, before I hop into what this is, okay? So, yesterday, and for all of those that follow or are new to the channel, one of the things that I do is I take things, real life things that happen. I believe for me, if I'm going to continue to do this every single day, all week, or at least 4 to 6 times a week, I'm not just going to make up random stuff. Like I have to use stuff that's happened and apply it because all I'm around, to be honest with you, is like top producers. That's all we create. That's all we focus on. 40K months is like our goal. I want to actually talk about real life things that are happening with our clients, other people. So yesterday, just context, yesterday or 2 days ago, I'm sorry, I'm Eastern Standard Time. So that's like 8:30 and I spent some time with my wife. So 8 o'clock hits, I get like a text message from a client. I won't drop the client's name. Hopefully we'll get him on. He's been on like my ads and stuff. So some people know who he is, but anyways, I get a text from a client and he's like, yo, what's up, man? I've been seeing your content on YouTube, Facebook, your ads, your story, everything, brother. He was like, man, I know it's been a while since we worked together. And yo, I just wanted to reach back out, man, and see what you have. I see you have a bunch of new stuff that you're doing. I'd love to, get back to working with you. So I texted him back the next day. I'm like, yo, what's up, brother? Blah, blah, blah. We talk. I'm like, let's hop on a call. So we get on a call and I was like, hey, what's up? It's not good to see you, whatever. And I'm like, hey, man, why did you decide to like reach back out to me, bro? What's been going on? He was like, man, look, so I go to the gym every night. And when I go to the gym at night and when I finish my workout, I get on the elliptical or Stairmaster or I jog, right? I do like some sort of long distance to finish. It's like, okay, cool. He was like, and when I do, I go on YouTube. And when I go on YouTube, I always try to pick something. He said, every single day I see your videos popping up, right? He's like, obviously he's subscribed to my channel because he knows who I am. We've worked with him. He's like, dude, I just see your stuff. And then I see all of your ads. And then I obviously still follow you. We follow each other on Instagram. And he was like, dude, like you're going hard. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm done playing ball. So I just decided like, hey, this is all I'm focused on. And we've been doing well, but like we're about to really take over because now this is like outside of my faith, number one, which isn't really even a category. It's just like all encompassing life, but my wife, my family, and my brothers, it's really all I focus on. Like I don't go out. I don't really party. I'm a pretty simple dude. Like I'm starting to like going out to eat, but I'm pretty basic. Now, the reason I'm saying this and why this is important for you is that my response was I'm just like 100% locked in. And here's what I can say about the only system that helps create $40,000 a month producers like it's clockwork, and it will never change. Here's what it is, right? It is consistency. It's consistency. Most people are like, oh my goodness, I thought it would be like this crazy elaborate story. Okay, let me give you another story of that's phase one. Consistency and what? Consistency and mindset. On here, I try to break down what are actual things you can do. I hate when people, not hate, that's a strong word. I apologize. Forgive me, Lord. I dislike when people, and I've done this in the past too, so I try to correct myself, like talk about things, but don't, number one, give it definitions, but also give you practical steps. All right, so we're going to go through really two or three main things. Number one is just the mindset, the consistency in your mindset, right? So what I learned this word in college football, right? You call it neutral, all right? Another phrase that I like to use is back to the middle, right? Some of the people say even keel, all right? So it's not too high, right? Not too low, right? Every day is one of its own. Okay, that's number one. The second thing I want to talk about for top producers, and whether or not they do this or intentionally or unintentionally, it is a reality, okay? It is in their consistency, number one, and their mindset, Number two, right? And their leads. Okay. This is what type of leads, right? How they work leads, when they buy. We're gonna go through all these. If it's aged or fresh or live transfers. Okay. Okay. And then the last one, and probably they're all important. They're all equally important. I think if you apply all these, you'll do 40K plus pretty consistently, especially with everything being virtual. But if you just do one or two of these, you'll still get it. If you do one of them, you can honestly still do it too, even if you're just absolutely garbage. The last one is training. What I mean by that is how they view training. Okay, that's daily, weekly. I'm putting in training here, mentorship, right? The ability to not always be right and be guided to better choices. Because choices are the only thing that determine what direction you go in. Every choice that you make, right, determines where you go. You decide to go in a direction, and then you make choices based on that direction that you've chosen. If you say you want to make 40K, and there's this book that talks about there's really not, you don't really have choices. When you make decisions, you actually eliminate choices. Because once you decide to do something, you have to do what you have to do. Right? This book, it's called It Takes What It Takes. It's by Trevor Noah. This is all important because this has nothing to do with like the actual whatever. And I'm going to break this down, right? And this is, to me, right, the most important thing is KPIs. And I'm going to explain to you why. So let's go through each of these. So I just went over mindset. That was the first thing that the gentleman that I was talking to brought up to me. All right. The second thing is going to be leads. So what we started actually implement and started doing, which is working, and like honestly, you just got to know the numbers and care. It's like now we're bringing in like a full KPI system for all of our clients. So every client's going to actually get an audit. We're going to analyze where they're at, their numbers. It's not so much about like, oh, you need all these fancy systems. Like, okay, maybe, we'll be rolling some of that stuff out. But like bread and butter is like, dude, how much do you spend? How many leads do you close? What's your closing percentage? What's your booking rate? Because people will be like, well, I just want to try it out. I hate that. I'm sorry. Lord forgive me, not hate. Makes no sense to say you want to try it out. Try what out? What are you trying out? Buying a batch of 25 leads. Okay, so what are you analyzing? What's your data? Because if you just say, well, I should close 6, it's like, what does that even mean? Like, there's no, when have you ever closed it? You're like, well, I bought this pack like 3 months ago and I closed. I'm like, all right, well, what were your numbers? How much did you spend? So people don't know that. If you don't understand that, so we had a call with another one of my former clients that reached out to me. It was like, what's up, bro? They do final expense IUL. They were like, I want to get into mortgage. I'm like, cool. So we're going through the numbers, but they're talking about, some other companies and stuff that they're using. And they're like, yeah, we figured it out, and their cost to acquire clients. So those who watch me, they know this, but CAC or CPA is about $500 for an IUL. That's pretty high. I'm not going to lie. Like 400 is typically like the max that you want to see. Like if you're above 400, it's a major skill issue, and you have to know these numbers. Right? Like if you don't know the numbers, you have to understand where it's at. Yeah, if you don't know the numbers, then it doesn't make a difference. Like, because you don't know how many leads to buy, how many leads to work, what your expectations would be. Most people have the wrong expectations. They think because they're like, well, I bought these leads, so I should get this. They're super emotional. It's like, dude, you spent this much, you made this much. Keep it simple. Remove the emotions. Oh, I paid for this. I should get these closes. Don't just look at it. Oh, I bought 100 leads. I talked to 100 people. I should close. That's not how business works. Business works on numbers. Input in, input out. All the other variables that go into it affect the input in, input out, but you have to know what they are. If you don't know what they are, they can't grow. You hear the saying, if you don't know your numbers, you can't grow your numbers. That's a real life thing. So if you don't know that, you can't grow it. So understand that's how I got to the leads. I talked to the gentleman. They were like, yeah, 500, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, how many leads? They were like, well, I want to do this like branded funnel. And I'm like, okay, bro, like, let's talk about it. And they're like, yeah, well, that's what I'm seeing everybody do. I'm like, who cares what everybody else is doing, right? It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. What works for you? This person might do this, because in their life, they understand how it works to do marketing. You may not be that type of bull. You might not be the type of person that can actually sit there and be like, man, you know what? I can spend, I was like, yo, I told him, I said, I spent $1,500. I got 1 lead 2 days ago. So are you ready to do that? He's like, well, I'm like, no, see, but it's not about the money. It's about the mindset that it takes. I woke up next day, smile on my face, said it's going to be good. Next day we go out. I think we probably made like $4,000 or whatever it was, which is like cool. It's nothing crazy, but like you start looking at it and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, because if you understand that When you do marketing and branding, it's different. And the reason why I brought that up is like, dude, you don't even know your numbers. So why would you invest into branding when you don't even know what your numbers look like unbranded or what we call it unbranded or just like buying leads? See, what I've realized is most of the agents, and if you're like this, it's okay. Because look, I was like this in my own business until 3 months ago, until I got my most recent mentor. If you don't know your numbers, then why are you making decisions? You're making decisions off of emotion. If you don't actually have the track data, what are you making decisions off of? Well, I think that's not good enough. Oh, well, I think this is how it should work. Oh, well, I feel like this should be like this. That is not a logical decision. There's no logic behind that. So you can't put numbers behind it to decide if it's actually the right move. If you don't have the numbers, you can't see. You have to take all emotion out. This is important for leads. Most people operate with leads from the wrong frame. They don't look at it for the numbers because they don't even know the numbers. Somebody told them to go spend this much on leads, do this, do that, and didn't get the numbers. Now, I'm not saying you have to get not move without the numbers, but you need the numbers to base metrics, and then you need a realistic benchmark. Hey, if you buy this many leads, this is what you should expect. Now, the thing is, when you're consistent and you're hitting 40K, because it's the only thing that matters, is that you consistently understand and know what that is. And then the last one is training. I think people really, the best organizations that I've been a part of, whether it was sports, whether it was business, whether it was life insurance, and the ones that I identify, because I study everybody. I'm like not one of the, I'm a sponge. Like I respect people and I study them and I'm like, yo, whatever you're doing is working. So I try to learn from people. I don't try to like look at things and be like, well, yeah, bro, like it's like, nah, dude, what you're doing is working. I think that's dope, bro. Cool. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna do it my way. As long as I do it my way, it's cool. Lost my other one, by the way, wife. This is her, so I was like, yeah, I'll just take this. The black one I always had that I would pull up for those of you that watch my content. But anyways, so how they view training and your mindset on training has to be consistent, right? See, you guys know I write things in order based on what they are. The first thing, no matter what you do in life, is your mindset. And that's why I said you could do one of these and still fumble the bag with the other two, and you'll be good because they all build on top of each other. If you don't have the right mindset, then you don't understand how to buy leads and you're super emotional. That's a part of having a strong mindset, which we're going to talk about in a second. And then if you don't understand the leads that you're buying and what the expectations are of the leads and know the numbers, then you analyze the numbers and can easily say, I need training in this area. I need script training. I need rebuttal training. I need booked appointment training. They're all individual trainings, right? But you have to be consistent in looking at your numbers and improving your training. It's a constant battle. Focus on your mindset, be consistent in your mindset, feed your mind, do different things that create an environment that will nurture a strong, consistent mind. The second thing is figure out the lead situation, boom, boom. The third thing is figure out the training situation. All right, so let's walk through it. Okay, so mindset. Trevor Moawad, the gentleman I mentioned, the name of the book is It Has to Work or It Has to Work. The second book is called The Power of Neutral Thinking. Probably my two favorite books ever. I'm a super simple guy. Yes, I read, but when I read for nuggets and implementation. I write things on a flashcard like a little kid, and I read them every day because it helps me like actually apply things. I think reading over time, if you're just not applying things, it's just pointless. It's like you're like, okay, cool. You're storing it, but you never get to apply it. So you never get what the Bible says is understanding. Understanding comes from application and learning. And then you get the knowledge just as like, oh, this is knowledgeable. Like there's a lot of people that are knowledgeable but don't understand things, right? If you have no actual understanding. And then once you have understanding over time, that creates what's called wisdom, right? That's the process, but that's biblical. So we'll get into that, but we won't get into that right now. So neutral thinking is essentially that we're not too high, we're not too low, we're what we call even keel or neutral, meaning that when good things happen, we don't get like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing in the world. And then when bad things happen, we don't like cry, complain, whine, and like whatever. We stay what's called right in the middle. Now, we learned this term in football. It was just called back to the middle. It was the same thought process. But when things happen really good, you just reset. And when things happen really bad, you just reset. And every single day, you have to get back to the middle. There's this middle ground that you have to stay at all times to help you be consistent. If you ride the wave of things being too good, you get screwed. If you ride the wave of things being really bad, you get screwed. You have to just stay middle. Things go bad, reset. Things go good, reset. And the more you do this, the more wins you get. It's up and it's down, it's up and down. That's how you have to live life, number one. But definitely if you're going to write 40K, because here's the thing. You're always going to have a bad day, right? But you can never have a bad week and a bad month. It's really simple. So if you have a bad day, it's okay. show you I had a bad day. It's all right. You get back to the middle. You had a good day. You say, all right, get back to the middle. Because it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. Especially in the life insurance space. Now in business, a little bit different because like there's a compounding effect. So if I just keep doing the right thing over and over and over again, I can take myself out. Right? Same thing you do with life insurance when you get an agency. But like there is an aspect of you are growing and you never get too high, you never get too low, right? And every single day is one day of its own, and you treat it as such. Some people call this even kill, right? As my mom always said. I don't know where that like comes from. I don't know if that's how you do it. It might be even hyphen kill, but you get the point. The reason why this is you have to be consistent in your mindset is because if you choose to ride the highs when they're high, you may have a 40K month one month, then 30, then 20, then 50, then 60, then 20, then 35. You're not just able to just, go 40, 45, 40, 48, 40, 49, 50, 51. Like there's no big drastic swing, right? Because you have to take every single day. You will take L's, right? You will take L's. That's just a part of it. Literally, it's a part of it. You cannot avoid it. If you try to avoid it, you're avoiding the inevitable and you're going to be upset. I just read in my book last night, I was talking about how the reality is that when people feel bad, it's that they had the wrong expectation of what was supposed to happen. I was like, wow, that was so powerful. I'm going to keep that with me. I'm going to write that on my flashcard. Our emotion of feeling bad is completely tied to what we expected to happen. The analogy was a golfer sees that it's pouring down raining and they think it's a horrible day. Oh my goodness, so bad. And then a farmer knows that it's raining and he was waiting on his crops to bloom. The regardless is, dude, it's still raining. You can choose how you look at it, right? But the reason why the farmer is happy is because he expected, his desire was for it to rain. The golfer is upset because he's like, dude, dang, I can't golf, whatever it is. And there's tons of analogies you can use, but the point is, it doesn't affect the fact that it still rains and you still have to get up and do whatever you have to do. Like the golfer, he can either be upset, be mad, sit inside, or like if it's priority, needs to work on his game, like he can go to a simulator. He can go train and do this. He can go like, dude, there's so many other things that you could do. But now you're the emotion, you're like, your disappointment, is because you had the wrong expectation, right? But when you understand that you have to stay neutral every day, right? Oh, every day I come in, I expect to write, 10K. You don't write it and you set your expectation. Not even that you're going to hit it, but you set your expectation that you rode that high too long. Because typically what happens is when you have a neutral mindset, this is what the book talks about, you do the behaviors that allow you, right, to hit the goal. When you ride really high, you start telling yourself things and you forget little things. That's why you'll hear people, like even me, if you know my story, we went first year in business, we made $1 million in 10 months, which I think is pretty freaking fire, right? Even though our gross margins was like 35%, so it was like absolutely dog water, but still, like we did $1 million in 10 months with no ads, right? And I just thought I was on top of the world. And then I got picked up in the league, and in another year later, I was negative $100,000 in debt. I was trying stuff, hiring people, no systems. It was just god awful. And I spent the next 3 months basically rebuilding the entire business from the ground up. Right? Fast forward, now we're doing 200K plus a month, on the road to do 3, 4, and we're on our way to $1 million. So we'll update you when we get there. But like the reason why I'm saying that is I had two choices, right? But I was riding the high when it was high. I was like, dude, I don't need ads. Like, we're good. I stopped optimizing the funnels. I didn't really take feedback. I was like increasing. I was doing everything, like not the way you should. And I had the opportunity to create something that could have been like a momentum going forward. But I had to take that L. And I'm somebody that I'm a high performer at the time. So it's not like I don't know this behavior. I just didn't apply it to the thing that I was in, right? I didn't stay in the middle. I didn't stay even kill. Right. I literally rode the high when it was high. And then I went for a while and I kind of rode the low when it was low. And I was just buying stuff and trying to overcome the reality that I just have to put my head down and work. And I'm just not putting enough hours into this. So my expectations are wrong and I'm being a sucker and I need to tighten up. Right. So that's mindset. Number 2 is leads. Now I could spend a whole video going through this, the consistency in leads, buying leads, working them, but I'm going to go through them at a high level just so you understand. You have to understand what type of lead you're buying. You have to be consistent in working that lead. All right. So what type of leads? How to work the lead. That's the second thing. So if I buy a mortgage lead, right, I have to understand how to work mortgage leads. I have tons of videos. I talk about the demographic behavior of the lead type. Super, 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 super important. Then this is like kind of one of the more slept on things. And once again, I could probably do a video on this. It is so important to figure out how consistently you buy leads or how your lead purchasing is set up. If you're running ads, it's every day. So, dude, it's like the ultimate accountability. But if you're buying from a lead vendor and you're not on subscription, you still tied to emotion. That's why, like, if I told you that if you knew the only way to grow your business was to get fresh leads, let's just say that was the way that you were brought up. We'll talk. And when I say fresh, I don't mean fresh in terms of like they have to literally be fresh. I just mean like they're fresh to you, like brand new leads. You had to buy new leads every week. What would make more sense if money was irrelevant? You having a schedule when the leads come in so you don't have to pull out your card and do all this other stuff, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, like every other business? Or would you rather, have to go in, pick, hand select, make all these decisions, figure out how many you want to buy, swipe your card, wait, get a receipt? Then it's like, yeah, everybody would say the first option if money was no option. Well, okay, well, eliminate money because that's a limiting belief, and you're going to be able to create money. So why don't you just put your card on file for what you can get set up on a subscription, and get this thing rolling? See, most of the times we don't do that. We don't even put ourselves in that frame. So we buy leads like, oh, I'm going to buy leads here, buy leads here. Dude, you just need to have leads on autopilot. It goes back to the mindset, right? If I have a good day, I'm good. If I have a bad day, I'm good. Most people, they ride the wave with lead companies when it's good, and then they leave when it's bad. It's like, bro, it's life, dog. I just told you I spent $1,500 and got one lead. You tell me one life insurance agent that'd be willing to do that. Most people wouldn't. Dude, they cry if they get $100 lead. It's like, bro, relax. $200 lead. I spent $1,500 and got one lead for my business. One. That day, one. People be like, oh my goodness. They start crying. Like, dude, relax, dude. It's not that big of a deal. If you believe in yourself, you're going to make it back. Stop whining, stop complaining, and just go to work. Use the stuff that you have. For those that love Alex Hormozi, one of the things he says, and I believe it's like, the first rule of entrepreneurship is to use what you have. Use what you have available. Use what's at your disposal. I even caught myself whining for a second. I was like, hold on, dude, let me check myself. Right? So when you buy, the consistency, or you put your card on automatic, let that bad boy draw. Work with a company and say, dude, I'm working with you. Let's ride. Lock in, right? This is another one I didn't write down, but it's like, make a lead decision. Vendor, company, ads, and stick with it. People don't stick with anything. They work with a company, even people that work with us sometimes. They're like, yeah, bro, I'm going to do this. And it's like, okay, it's working, but it's not working as good. So you just leave? Like, I don't get it. I don't get people. It's like, is it a commitment thing? Is it our generation? Like, something doesn't work for 20 days and you're like, oh, it's over. It's like, okay, what if it works the 21st? See, here's the thing. I realize this. There's nothing new under the sun. So when it comes to buying leads or working with a vendor, there's only a few places people are getting it from. Meta, Google, a la carte resources, TikTok, LinkedIn, etc. Or they have like some level of like a web data collection pool. Or they're scraping their data from, lists, right? It's like, or they're doing like mailers. There's not really that much more. So if that's the case, the question is just like, okay, well, why don't we just focus on one thing and just stick with it? They'll have one bad week and be like, this sucks. It's like, bro, that's not how this works. You buy, you keep buying, you make a decision, and you stick with them. You route with them for the long haul because that's what's going to help you grow. Next thing is, what type of leads you're going to work? Aged, fresh, or transfers? They're all created differently. I have videos on it. I'm not going to waste your time here. You have to make the decision to be consistent because it's not always going to go good with aged, fresh, and live transfers. Now, KPIs. I want to go over briefly what I discussed with the gentleman, right? Which is simple. We went through aged IUL and fresh IUL. And for those that don't know, I'm going to go through our numbers. So our aged IUL at the present moment are $2, right? And then we also have $32 OTP, which is like a one-time passcode, text verified IUL. All right, so that's kind of what we have. All right, now why is this important? This is important because We went through the numbers and broke it down. And without going through it today, I will give you a high level understanding of what essentially we came to. We identified that his cost to acquire a client for an IUL, for a text verified for a normal IUL, would be $200. Okay. And we noticed that his cost to acquire a client for this, let's just say, is $350. Now, most people will say, well, dude, yeah, I'll just take the 200 every day of the week. But the question is not that. The question is to write $40,000 per month. Okay. So what it looks like is, not bad, one of my sales managers just hit me up. All right, so let's say we're going to take $40,000, right? Because that's what we're trying to hit. And we're going to divide that by, how do we do this again? So 350 is the cost to acquire a client, right? Oh, we got to figure out what their average annual premium was. I apologize. That was the last thing. So we're going to do the same price with the average AP. We'll say at $1,500. Okay. So that's for both people. Average AP, 1,500. Okay. So 40,000 divided by 1,500. Okay. What does that mean, guys? That means you take the average annual premium that you're getting, this commission paid out to you, or AP, just for the simplicity. Let's say a person says 40K AP. That's what we're trying to hit. If you want to do IP, just switch the number and do IP. I would do IP because I know there's going to be somebody in the comment like, bro, it's not the same thing. It's like, all right, cool. So what that means, you have to get 26 sales. All right. So 26 sales. All right. 26 sales. So you're now going to have those 26 sales, and you're going to multiply that times the cost to acquire a client, because that's how much it requires. So 26 times 200. Okay. So it's 5,200. 5,200. Okay. And then we're going to do 26 times 350. That's 9,100. Okay. Now, here's the difference where people are like, yeah, bro, I would do the 5,000 every day of the week and save $4,000. It's like, all right, let me ask you a question, because this is really what you want to look at. And if you really want to get granular, this is how deep you have to go in it. All right. So that's how much you have to spend in leads. So take 5,200 and divide that by 2, because it's $2 a lead. So that means you have that 26,000 or 2,600 leads. Okay. Now take 9,100, divide that by 32. You only have to have 284 leads. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Would you rather dial through 284 leads, or would you rather dial through 2,600 leads? Now, you're essentially having to work 10 times the leads to save 4 times the money. I mean, to save $4,000, theoretically. Are you telling me that saving $4,000 is worth having hold on, I don't think I did that right. My bad. Yeah, I did do that right. Yeah. So you're telling me, yeah, because 284 times 32. Yeah, 9,088. Whatever, 284 point whatever. You guys get the point. What I'm trying to say is you'd rather have essentially, right, 10 times the leads, theoretically, 9, whatever the amount is, times the number of leads. Now, it's not just the leads. How much time is it going to take you to call through 2,600 leads? Now, some people will say, hey, Trey, I'll get a dialer, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing that people don't equate for is time. See, here's the thing that I'll say that the people I work with, this is what we do that's different than everybody else. We have aged leads, but they're a stepping stone. It is not a foundation. The problem with the age lead game is that, yes, it is super profitable. And yes, if you have a dialer, you can probably do this. You really can. You buy 2,600 leads, you roll through them. Here's the thing. Number one, this is equating for that every time you buy 100 leads, you're going to get a one sale. That's because it's aged. It's a lot harder to do that. It takes a lot more skill, and it's okay. I'm not saying you can't. But here's the thing. are going to be putting in significantly more time to work through those 2,600 leads versus the 284 leads. I don't care if you have a dialer or not. It does not matter. To work through 2,600 leads. And remember, this has to be exact. So that means for every 100 leads you buy, you have to sell one in their age. That's not always going to happen. And these are relative numbers that you could probably see. Now, one would say, yeah, it's worth it. I'll get a dialer, blah, blah, blah. Me, if I'm an agency owner, if I'm somebody, it's $4,000. My time is worth more than $4,000. That's the question you have to ask yourself. I'm not going to spend the whole time, but this is what we're going through with our clients, because people will be like, man, I'm just tired of dealing with it. It's like, dude, you can do it, but you're going to have to buy 2,600 leads based on your numbers. And that's why it's important for you to know your numbers. Now, a lot of people don't do this. I talk to top producers every day. They don't do this. That's why we're rolling this out to more people. Nobody is actually breaking these numbers down. That's the thing. They're not breaking it down, and they can't make it make sense to them. They don't understand it, and they don't even care to understand it. But you should. It should help you guide and direct on making decisions. The difference is that the top people that are doing this, they don't do it cognizantly. They just know, and they're told by the right upline and the right system, this is how many leads you need to buy, and they just give them estimates. They may not know their cost to acquire client, but like, dude, if I spend 1,000, I make this much. They just innately know it. This may be for you that aren't in a system and don't know that yet. Then you should, focus on figuring out how to do that. Third thing, and I'll wrap up here, is training. Now, to me, I'm not even in the life insurance. Like I don't have an agency, bro. I watch everything. Like I listen to sales training from agents because I like to know, what are my clients saying? What are people doing that's working? What's not working? So I just creep around, listen to what people are saying. I pay attention to top producers, top agents, and I listen. I try to be a student of the game. I am not selling life insurance, but I'm selling leads to agents that sell life insurance. So it would behoove me to know that. You are not a mortgage protection client, but it would behoove you to understand the components of what you're selling to the person. I'm selling life insurance leads to a life insurance agent. Wouldn't it better me to understand my client better? Yes. You should be training and learning and becoming more knowledgeable. The most successful, consistent people I've spoken to, they study the game. Not only do they study scripts and trainings and objections and rebuttals, they study psychology. They learn things that aren't necessarily directly correlated to the sale, but they are correlated to the sale. For example, mortgage protection. They understand how probate works. They take the time to actually study these things. Why? Because if you are more knowledgeable in this industry, you will typically make more money because you can then position and ask questions in ways that other people can't. If I'm looking to build an agency or build myself and consistently write business, if I can get on the phone and actually sound like an advisor, what we've also noticed is the people who show up as advisors typically are because they sound like they know exactly what they're talking about. Yes, a script is important. You need to follow script to the T. And for some people, the script prints them a lot of money. But for a lot of people, the script is meant to be a guide. You are to follow it and then to learn how to maneuver and adjust based on what the client says. If you don't listen to what they say and you just say what you want to say and don't actually understand their system, you are hurting yourself drastically. You're killing yourself. So you need to put yourself in the best situation to be successful. And that requires training with your team, training in, if you don't have a team, there's no excuse. You should be on YouTube. You should be looking up top producers. Literally, I used to write down top producer scripts and study it word for word. I used to play it before I would hop on the meetings. That's all I would do because I was away from the team. So the team was all the way out in Colorado. I was here in Nashville. There was nobody near me. I was the only person that wasn't on the team. And I never they were all Montana, Idaho, Colorado. I'm literally in Nashville, Tennessee. There's not an agent near me. But we're making it work. I did make excuses, right? And then mentorship. Unfortunately, not everybody gets a mentor. Unfortunately, not everybody is fortunate enough to have that person that they can lean on that will give them the clarity to help them make the right and better choices. If you're not, go find one or pay for one. It might not be comfortable. I know in the life insurance space, not a lot of people pay for mentors because they're like, whoop-de-whoop, I should get one for free. Look, dude, when I want a mentor and I want something, I'm just going to pay for it. Because I don't view money in that way. I'm not like this, oh yeah. It's like, dude, I look at it. It's just a vehicle to get me to the next thing. So, as always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. This is my video. This is the only system that's going to make you a $40,000 a month producer. That's it. You have these three things in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter what lead you buy, because you can do it with $2 leads, $32 leads, $50 leads, transfers. You could do it with a lead vendor that sells, bait and switch leads. You could do it with old leads, new leads. But like, the thing you have to have is you have to have the right mindset. You have to buy in and be consistent with your leads. You have to buy in and be consistent with your training, because things are always changing. So you have to understand leads are always developing, changing, switching in regards to what the client is seeing, the demographics of what's going on. So to be consistent in your buying, who you're talking to, and your mindset. You always have to be neutral. You have to make every day a new day. You do that, you'll be good to go. But if you're an individual agent and you want to buy leads from us, we have all different type of leads. Dollar leads, $55 leads, text verified leads. They're all really good. We've helped over 550 agents, I mentioned earlier. We have over 200 and I think it's like 30 live videos on our website. We should have like close to 300 by the end of this month, because we're having tons of interviews, tons of people crushing it. We're scaling. We're growing super rapid. We have the best leads in the game. And I say that, and if you don't believe it now, just keep watching. You will. We're literally attacking everything. We're creating new leads. We're going to be pioneers in the industry. Genuinely, we're not at this present moment, but we will be. And we're growing. If you're an agency owner, you have 3 to 5 agents doing 30 to 40K a month, and you want an in-house system built like you want it built. Not they can plug into it and get leads. That's our partnership model. Dude, we'll just hook you up. You reach out to us. You have to be good, though. You have to buy a pack of leads at least. We want to make sure that you're good. From there, then we will introduce you, and you have the opportunity to potentially partner with us, and we'll give you and your team access to the leads. Second option is if you do want to run those ads, you have to have those 3 to 5 producers doing 30K. You have to be pushing 2, 3, 4, 500 a month as an agency and looking to grow to $1 million. I'll give you the blueprint. I'll walk you through it, but it is going to require a lot of work. It's going to require money. It's 5 to 10K a month, give or take on the size of your agency. That's the retainer plus ad spend. If you don't have that money, cool, don't hop on a call. We're not going to high pressure sales you. You already know the price. Get on the call if you're serious. If you're not serious, you're just curious, just watch these videos. There's nothing that we're going to tell you, no insights. Go high level, run your ads. Super simple. It's just may the best man win. We're all doing the same thing. I used to sauce it up, make it sound like better than it was. We're running ads for you and your agents at a flat rate, and we're going to build you a go high level. Just that simple. What makes us different is not the freaking go high level or the ads. It's what's behind the ads, the mindset, and the systems to help you create. And the question is, are you just patient enough for that? If you're not patient enough for it, cool, it's cooked. If you are, let's make it happen. As always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Peace.